Welcome to the Darkstream, Vox Day, voxday.net, and Unauthorized TV. I'm also, as you can see, wearing the Dorking 25th anniversary jersey, the traditional one, and it's the Owners Club as well, and so happy to be supporting the Wanderers. That being said, it has to be admitted that it was a very disappointing season on the field for the Wanderers. By the way, tonight's going to be a soccer stream, so if that's not your thing, then so be it. But what we're going to do is talk a little bit about it, and then actually watch the highlights of the playoff game that, while very, very exciting and event-filled, really didn't go our way. So anyhow, my season, the veterans team that I play for has been underway, and actually we've turned it around rather nicely. After a poor start where we lost our first two games, one of which we were not expected to win, but we could have won. And the other one we should have won, but somehow lost 3-0. It's incredible. But we turned it around. We've won the last two, and in fact, just last night, upset the undefeated league leaders 3-2. So that was pretty good. That was pretty cool. Anyhow, back to Dorking. They went down from the National League last year. Probably shouldn't have, but just couldn't get their act together. This year they were actually kind of anticipated to bounce right back up to the National League, and unfortunately a bunch of injuries to their best players meant that I think the top four players missed a combined 80 games, which is ridiculous. That being said, they still finished really well. They finished in the playoff, only 3 points away from winning the automatic promotion. That was just really tough because all they needed to do was finish off 2 of the last 3 games of the season against weaker teams, games that they were winning until the last 5 minutes, and in both games they gave up late goals and drew the game. And with the way that the football point system works, a draw is 2 points less than a win. They win those 2 games that they were winning, they have 4 more points, they finish on 90, they win the league, automatic promotion, right back up. Instead, they're in the playoff. Okay, got to win the playoff then. But the problem is, when you're in 6th place, then you have to win 3 games in a row. And so they were up against, the clip I'm going to show you, they were up against Boreham Wood. And Boreham Wood, like them, were in the National League last year, got relegated, and were also trying to bounce right back up. Both teams have the best offenses in the league. Dorking has the most goals. Boreham Wood had the best goal difference, partly because of our slightly leaky defense. But let's watch the highlights of the playoff game, and I'll probably stop it from time to time with some commentary as we go through it. So I'll switch over here, turn on the audio, and let me grab my headset here. I'll leave my mic on so that I can add to the commentary a bit. So this is the playoff game at Boreham Wood, and the commentator is actually the Boreham Wood commentator. So Dorking is in the orange and navy here, the team on the right.
1,000. This one's chipped up into the evening air. It'll break favourably. The shot just bounces over the bar. Harrison Folks.
Great shot, but just bad angle.
Player of the season, Macron. Good little pivot here by Rush. And now Sousa is in for Boreham Wood. That's the opening goal just past the quarter hour.
Now, I'm going to rewind that for a second so you can see what happened here.
Talking about the better of the game so far.
So what happened here was a real problem. And this is why you always play until to the whistle. And not just till the whistle, but until the action stops. Like, you just can't assume anything. And so what happened here is the linesman made a mistake. So I don't know if we can see it. I'll try to catch it. So watch the linesman on the far side. We'll see if he's in there. So what happens here, the ball comes up, right? Now, there's a Boreham Wood player. He's off the screen right now, but he's in an offside position. But remember, there's no offside if the other team touches the ball. If you don't pass it forward, if the other team passes it back, you're not offside. And so what happened here is, right here, the player that's in the middle of the screen, he's about to touch the ball backward. And so when he does, I gotta get the settings on there. There we are. Okay. When he does, it confuses the linesman, and he raises his flag temporarily. See right there, the Dorking player passes it back. The linesman then raises his flag. We can't see it because he's back there, but you can see some of the Dorking players have raised their hand. That's usually when they're calling for offside. Now, what's critical here is that Dan Gallagher, the defenseman, who's going to enter the picture here, Dan Gallagher is the one who's holding up his hand. Notice how he's not running. He's just jogging back and complaining, hey, that's supposed to be offsides. Well, no, it's not. And he's even got a chance to intercept the ball. He gets two chances to intercept the ball. One right here, where he's right behind the guy, but he's still busy complaining to the referee instead of actually playing. And he confuses the player for a split second. You can see that the Boreham Wood player raises his hand and says, okay, wait, am I supposed to stop? And
good little pivot here.
Nope, I guess not. Keep playing.
By Rush.
And now here's the worst part, is number 19 makes a nice
Sousa
pass.
Is in for Boreham Wood.
And there you go.
That's the opening goal just past the quarter hour. Portuguese class.
You can't do that.
Talking about the better of the game so far, but that was clinical, that was effective. He was teed up nicely, and he held the putt. Brilliantly done by Errico Sousa. He's a top-class player at this level, and he gobbled up his opportunity. Really well taken. Started from a Femi Ilasanmi header, and then it was all the work.
Yeah, and also notice right there, the other defender, I think it's Tony Craig, he does the same thing. Instead of playing the ball, he stops and he's raising his hand. You can't do that. You got to just keep playing.
Rush, who kept playing.
And because he stopped, he's wildly out of position.
And boy, did he exploit it. Slid it along the turf. First time from
just
the number
absurd.
19. Excellent. Well, more than content with the scoreline, given the way the game has gone to date. Cut out well this by Sousa. You can't keep him.
That was a terrible play too. Craig nearly he helped cost us the first goal, and then just with that lazy, slow pass, it gets it intercepted. I mean, this is just bad defending.
Out of the action, will he return the compliment here for Rush? Sousa hangs on to it, excellent trickery, and then he fires the shot, always going wide though. Responsibility again to try and pick out a teammate. Header on, this time by Carter. Will it fall for a red or white shirt? It does break now for Taylor, and Carter gets onto his right, whips it, and there were two players.
Nice play. I mean, the problem was that the two players were not really thinking cross, they were thinking shot, so they both reacted a little late.
Forward, it missed both of them. Returning from his ACL injury with the first, and then Reece Murphy, much travelled Irishman, with the second. Are we going to see them as they look to change the focus? Jimmy Murray, good play from him. Oh, it could be an own goal. It is.
That was, on the one hand, that was just luck. You know, Mewett and Rutherford were trying to get through the mass of defenders. But this is why it's important to drive against defenders even when they're in the way. Because good things happen when you drive. It's just like basketball. When you drive, sometimes you can kick out, and sometimes you get the foul. In soccer, sometimes you get the own goal. And so I don't really agree with those who say, oh, well, you know, that's just lucky. It's not lucky. It's something that is going to happen if you are pushing forward and driving forward aggressively enough.
Heartbreak for Boreham Wood. Pressure applied, and it's level. Rutherford was sowing the seeds of doubt, as he so often does, and it's come in the most unlikely of circumstances. But we have parity again. Dorking back in it. They've been free scoring all season. The division's highest scorers. Goals come from anywhere, but it's actually Boreham Wood who've scored for them. It's an OG. Great work in the middle.
Watch how Mewett is driving in.
Their positive number 7, Jimmy Mewett, as they looked to try and get themselves level. The initial ball forward by
So he takes on the first defender and goes past the second one.
Rutherford was there, great running. Rutherford was preparing his shot.
Now, I don't know what Rutherford was trying to do. I think he was trying to poke a pass across, but
he's going to knock this left-footed, hangs it into the night sky, looks a good one.
And that's a great header.
And it's into the net. What a terrific.
Yeah, Jason Pryor, we've had our doubts about him since last season. And I mean, he's a legendary figure at the club. He's been one of their leading scorers for the past 7 years or something. But he's getting a little bit older, and he's not great on the build-up. He probably cost them 2 or 3 games last year just with his tendency to just pass the ball back if he gets it to him, and he's concerned about challenging the defender. He made a couple bad back passes that led to critical goals last year. And so we were kind of unhappy with him. And then this year, when the other attackers were injured or not performing, he just really stepped it up, and he really does a lot of the dirty work, and he's really good in the air. And so that particular header is a great header because the goalie is in position. And if he heads it up, the goalie is almost certainly going to grab it. Now, he might try to head it across, but instead what he did is he banked it down on the ground, and then it bounced up just under the goalie's hands. It's really, a really impressive header. Good
finish
goal
from Jason Pryor. JP, just perfect for Dorking Wanderers, and he absolutely loves playing against Boreham Wood. It's the 4th goal he scored against them this season. He got the winner in the last meeting. He bagged a brace in the previous encounter, and now he scores on a big night for Wanderers. They've come from behind here. It was a teasing, tempting, tantalising ball from the set piece from Jordan Norville-Williams, and the number 9 with a classic header.
I mean, when you see the way that he gets in position and then holds that position, knowing, and then snaps his hip or his waist forward, his whole upper torso. I mean, that was absolutely intentional. He knew exactly where that was going.
Bags of experience. He's been a terrific player for this football club, involved in 2 promotions. Went over the way of Boreham Wood initially, then firmly the way of Dorking Wanderers. We've been through all the emotions.
Okay, that was abysmal and costly, and unfortunately is my favorite player. One of my 2 favorite players on the team, Jimmy Mewett. He's absolutely critical to the team because he's one of the few players who actually attacks. He was the one that you saw entering, attacking the 2 defenders in what led to the first Dorking goal. And so unfortunately here, but of course it's not entirely his fault, because why was the pass made to him in the first place? Yes, he's coming back, but he's got a defender right on him and he's running at the guy. It's very difficult, even at that level, it's very difficult to control the ball when you're running full speed. So he doesn't control it well, which allows the guy to go, the defender who had been on him, to go right past him and take it. And then to make matters worse, Mewett then fouls him from behind. He's already playing, just so you know, he's already playing on a yellow. So this means that Dorking's now going to go a man down with about 30 minutes left in the game, because you've got, 24 minutes to get to 90, plus the injury time's been crazy. So watch this again.
Come from behind here. It was a teasing. And I think we're going to get all the emotions already. And I think we're going to get a brilliant closing quarter of this contest as the foul is made on.
And that foul is so unnecessary because the defender was right there. It would have been a lot more useful if he had kept running inside the defender in case the defender was unable to stop the guy, but trust the defender to take on the guy with the ball. Instead, he commits a dumb foul, especially considering that he's already on a yellow. It's from behind. It's a legitimate yellow card. Second yellow, red, you're out, and we're a man down.
She's ranting and raving, and Mewett's already been booked. It's going to be a second yellow here, and Dorking are down to 10. That could be a massive moment in this playoff eliminator.
You can tell he knew it too.
The midfielder, Jimmy Mewett. They have got a corner kick here. In it comes from Norval Williams. We know he's good from the set piece. And Cam plays it back for Norval Williams. Gets into the penalty area. Cross comes over, the header flashes wide. Great opportunity there to make it 3.
I wouldn't say great. It was a half chance.
Up they go. Might come for Briggs now. Good challenge in. Sammy Oates, another own goal. Can you believe it? It's gone in off Bush.
That was just a combination of hard work and luck. I mean, that ball should not have gone in. But when you push, when you attack, when you're aggressive, that's when good things happen. I'll tell you a bit about a play from last week's game after this, but when you do the work as a striker, as a wing, putting pressure on the defense, these things happen, and people go, "Oh, well, that was really lucky." It's like, it's not, because it doesn't happen if you don't put the work in. Also, at this point, we're at the 80th minute. Okay, they're down a man, but they're up 2 goals. At this point, I was genuinely thinking, we got it. It's over. Boreham Wood hasn't done anything. We're still attacking, being down a man, and now we're up 2 goals.
A second own goal in this second half, and that might just book the place for Dorking Wanderers in the playoff semi-finals in National League South. They've had a lot of luck in this second half. They'll believe that they've earned it. They've given an all-action display in this game. Would you believe it? A second own goal, and the 10 men have the buffer now. They've got the comfort zone of a 2-goal advantage going into the latter stages. The Boreham Wood fans cannot believe this. Well, they have, in in many ways been architects of their own downfall. The clearance from the keeper, Harrison Folks, up went Pryor. He played his part, as did Briggs. Ilasanmi tried to get there, and it's gone in off the unfortunate Chris Bush. Goal sandwiched between two OGs. And we've had a sending off in there, so it's been a bit of a horror show for Boreham Wood in this second half, to be honest. They've conceded 3, they've scored 2 of them themselves, and, well, they've seen Dorky have a player sent off. Here's the shot, oh, it's a brilliant goal, they're back in it. That's a stunning strike.
That was unfortunate because, first of all, Dorking should have had it cleared, but the two players basically ping-ponged the ball between them. And then right at the end, you see that the defender fails to come out with the player. So right here, you got the guy with the ball. He's being marked well right there at the top of the box. But look at the middle. You've got the player who scored the goal coming over for a pass, and look where the guy marking him is. He's leaving him way too much room. You know what he should be doing is he should be coming out. He should be anticipating that pass. Now again, it's the 82nd minute. People are tired and that sort of thing. But even at my level, a lot of players are capable of scoring from just outside the box. You can't just leave players alone outside the box, and you have to know, like, where's this guy going to go? Is he really going to try to dribble past two people? He's more likely going to try to cross it, unless you leave somebody wide open right in the middle. And look what happens.
Well, we've seen Dorky have a player sent off. Here's the shot. Oh, it's a brilliant goal. They're back in it. That's... You know,
and now you can see that the Dorking player who should have been on him and should have been, you know, there to contest that pass, you can see he's bending over. He was probably too tired to go out there and contest it. But you need to dig down and find the energy.
It's a stunning strike. Terrific.
It's a good shot, though. Give him that.
Wow. Dixon along the turf into the corner. Junior Dixon, the Birmingham City loanee, in a flash. And now they do believe. They're scoring most of the goals in this game. 2 of them at the wrong end, 2 of them at
10
the
minutes.
right
Can you hang on?
But that is a really good, crisp, clean strike of the football.
See, right there. That's where the bad luck is. This is just bad luck. The ball is coming in. Where are we? Where are they showing it? Oh. Yeah. So the ball's coming in.
Scoring most of the goals in this game, 2 of them at the wrong end, 2
I
of
think
them
they're going to show the highlight
one.
here. Yeah, right here.
But that is a really good,
they pop it in.
Clean strike.
Now this should be easy to clear, right? The pass is intercepted. But the one guy doesn't get out of the way of you know.
Ball from.
And then they hand the ball back.
Number 18, Dixon.
And then, see, 17's on 19 there. Look, he's close to him there.
Manoeuvred it outside the penalty area.
But he doesn't transfer over to 20.
And he's actually played it for Abdul Malik, I think.
Yeah.
With the sending.
That was doubly bad because number one, he's staying on the one player. He's staying on 17 or staying on 19. But then you got to when he's moving over, either you go with him or you leave him to the other guy, which he did, but then you have to go with the new guy. You have to transfer. He didn't make the transfer, and he didn't contest the pass.
Off the goals, the subs, you're going to get at least 5-6 minutes of stoppage time here, if not more. Wheeler to the near post, and they've got level. It's 3-3, sensational stop from the wood. Cameron Cox is there to meet it at the near post.
Now, this is a really good header.
Set for extra time here at Meadow Park. They've come from 3-1 down. Character.
I mean, this I don't really blame the defender there. or the goalie. It's a really good header. He hits it in the right spot. We'll see on the replay if the defender could have contested better. What I don't like, one thing that there's two things that Dorking does that I personally don't like, and I don't necessarily understand. One is, I think it's always a good idea to have a player on the near post. That way you've got someone who's right there to contest those quick glancing headers. Secondly, I like it when teams on the attack station somebody very wide, so if the ball goes too far over, there's someone there to put it back in. For some reason, teams in this league don't do that, and I've never understood that.
Resilience, brilliance from Boreham Wood. First the low drive from Abdul Malik, and then the corner kick swung over by Tom Whelan. Right boot, left.
Okay, so you can see the Dorking player is in position. He's on he's defending, but the guy manages to get around him. So I think what he did, I think he did make a mistake. I think he played the man and not the ball, because I think he was in a position to get to the ball, but instead of going for the ball, he just played his man.
It's soared towards Cox. Reaches over the pass now for Whelan to control and hit it in. Really good block by Briggs. Abdul Malik gets the crossover. Had it out. Only as far now as Sousa. Outside of the boot. Good ball on the volley. Great save.
Good attack. Good save.
And now Rush.
Here's where they should have scored.
Ilasanmi. Oh, he scrambled away. Is he?
Last minute defending.
Heroic defending. Another corner. It's Whelan again to swing it over from the wing. Nodding away. And then it's in!
All right. 17 did it again. Who was 17? I need to look. I'm not sure. Is that Bobby Joe Taylor? I'm not sure. I'm just checking the team. Let's see, 17. Josh Taylor, yeah. I mean, Josh Taylor's a really good player, but he did not have a good 15 minutes here. So look what happens. Look, and again, this is a very good play by Boreham Wood. You can't take anything away from that. But what you can point out is when players do things or neglect to do things that they should do. So if we go back. Okay, so you look where Taylor is the one standing in the top of the box, guarding number 19, and this is where he was before.
Get over from the.
So now look here. He's not in a position to get to the ball first, right?
Wing.
And now I will say that the other defender probably should have come forward to attack the ball. But more importantly, right here, Taylor's got a chance to poke the ball away. I think he was probably afraid of committing a foul and giving up a penalty. But if you've got a choice between risking some contact and permitting a shot from close to the penalty area or the penalty spot, I don't know. See right here, notice how he was moving forward and then suddenly he stops and he's moving sideways. And then it's just a really good shot.
And then it's in! Femi
Great shot.
In the final minute of stoppage time. Comeback complete. An incredible 7-goal thriller. They were 3-1 down. They were heading out. First it was Abdul Malik. Then it was Cox. And now it's Femi Ilasanmi. He scored at the weekend in the final game of the season proper. And now he comes up trumps. He set himself. Jason Fry, what's he going to do from the corner right at the end of the game? Up it goes. Is the keeper going to get there? He punches it away, only partially. Comes back out now for Nerval Williams. Hits it low, left-footed, but the whistle had already gone. He put it into the net, but the whistle was blown and it's over. Boreham Wood are into
And that was the match. So very disappointing, especially because tomorrow Boreham Wood plays for the promotion spot. They won. They not only beat us, but then they went on and they beat Torquay United, and now they are playing Maidstone, who actually finished in 5th place below them, and so I think they have to be considered the favorite to win and to win promotion. So it's going to be really painful for us to watch Boreham Wood go up when we literally had them beaten until the last 5 minutes of the game. So, but that's football. If you make mistakes, you will get punished. The thing is, so many teams and so many players just don't play very smart. If you watch the NFL back during the Patriots dynasty years, it was always fascinating to see how smart the Patriots were compared to the other teams. They were just observably smarter. They didn't make dumb mistakes. They didn't allow and they didn't make dumb mistakes, dumb coaching mistakes. The legendary call, or the legendary non-call of Bill Belichick when Seattle was expecting him to call timeout before the last play, and he just sat there and put the pressure on the Seahawks. Manuel's going he's going way back. Bill Simmons lost level 2, the gut punch. Yeah, it wasn't a level 1 loss because Boreham Wood was the best team besides us in the National League South throughout. They didn't finish on top, but honestly, just watching the teams, watching the games, I felt that the 2 best teams were the teams that people thought were the best at the beginning, Boreham and Dorking. And so it was really, it's not to go to Boreham Wood and lose at Boreham Wood is not shocking. Also mitigating some of the pain is the way that it was a very fitting way for Dorking to end the season. All season, we've been conceding late goals. I mean, it's and not just this season, last season. I mean, the game last year against Dagenham and Redham was incredible. We score a last minute goal. There's literally only like a minute and a half left in injury time, and we score a goal to tie it up. The team is celebrating and all, and then they give away a free kick, and Dagenham scores on the free kick. I mean, it was comically bad. And so, the Dorking experience the last 2 years in terms of how they play has been they dominate the game, they take the lead, and then too often they give up a goal in the last 10 minutes. And I personally think it does have something to do with the coaching strategies. I mean, I've said this to the owner and the manager. When you see them doing the time wasting thing, they like to do the time wasting thing when they have a lead and it's in the last 10 minutes. I personally think that's a horrible idea, and I think that's one reason why we have a tendency to finish weak instead of finishing strong, which is crazy because it's exactly contra the way that Dorking used to be. They always used to be the underdog. They always used to finish strong, etc., etc. Well, the thing is, they're not the underdog anymore. we've got more resources than the average team at that level, especially now. You know, as disappointing as the season has been on the field, and honestly, it hasn't been a bad season at all. I mean, you don't score 86 points in the season, lead the league in scoring, and call it a bad season. Disappointing because of the results, yes, but it's not a bad season. And Manuel says, ugh, time wasting. Bus parking strat always backfires. That's not true. That's not at all true. And let me explain why. The catenaccio strategy, which the English call parking the bus, but in Italian it means chain. And basically it means defense first. And Italian teams tend to play this way. It was actually, believe it or not, developed in Switzerland by a Swiss coach who later became the Swiss national team coach, and then it was adopted by the Italian teams. And it's still, catenaccio is still a tactic that is used heavily by Italian teams. I mean, when I played in the Italian region of Switzerland for years, all of our game, it was unusual for either team to score 3 goals in a game. You know, the defenses are strong, they're smart, they hold their shape. I was talking to someone who has played in the French part and is now playing again. They used to play in the Italian part, they're back playing in the Italian league again. And one thing he said was that it's remarkable how much smarter the players in the Italian part are. And what he means by that is just the way that the defenses just shift and adjust and hold their positions much better than they do here. Even though some of the players here are excellent. But in terms of the soccer IQ, it just appears to be higher there. And so it is an effective strategy. Obviously, less talented teams do it. It's been used very effectively against Dorking, in fact. They play for the break, get a break, and then hope to hang on. The problem, where the real problem is if your team is not designed to play that way, if your players are not accustomed to always playing that way, they don't do it very well. They're not, their mentality, like you saw how reactive Josh Taylor was on those 2 goals. You know, he was, and I think that when you go into a defensive shell, and worse, when you go into a time-wasting thing, so you're not even trying to attack. You know, you're dribbling to the side of to the flag, and then you're trying to hold on to the ball and waste time. I mean, that's time you're not putting pressure on the defense. And, you know, I understand the difference between defensive focus and offensive focus. You know, I'm historically an attacker, but my responsibility these days tends to be more playing defensively on the wing and protecting one of our weaker defenders. So I don't go forward the way that I used to, unless, of course, we have a strong defender there, or if we're just in control of the game, and then I have the luxury of doing so. But when you've got a team that is powerful offensively and is used to attacking and is used to controlling the ball and dominating the ball, and then you ask them to start parking the bus and wasting time, I think that it doesn't suit them. And I think that's one of the reasons why Dorking has a tendency to collapse at the end. You know, they've probably done that. They probably did that 10 times this year that I recall seeing. And, you know, it's something they have to address. How they're going to address it, I don't know, and it's not up to me. But I'll certainly share my opinion. But the thing is that, you know, soccer, just like in American football, in the NFL, one thing that you see a lot is the cornerbacks, the better cornerbacks get pretty good at baiting the quarterbacks. They basically create space, back away from the receiver, and then as soon as they see that the quarterback has committed to that receiver and throwing the ball to that receiver, then they break on the receiver early. Because they're planning to do it, they can break a little bit earlier than if they were waiting to respond to the throw. And that's when you see interceptions. That's often when you see pick sixes. I did something like that in our most recent game. We had a decent defender behind me, so I was able to go up a little bit more. And I was, on the goal kicks, I was kind of standing close enough to the left defender that I could break on him if they tried to pass it to him. But I noticed that the goalie really wanted to pass him. The goalie always looked to him first and then saw that I was close and then backed away. Now we've got this really good tall attacker who is very good at taking the ball away from people, annoyingly good at it. And so what I did when I realized that the goalie wanted to go to him was I backed off him. I backed 20, 30 meters off him, and I guarded instead the other wing, guarding against a long kick to him on the goal kick. Of course, the guy passed to him, and I didn't dare yell, I didn't dare tell our striker to watch it, but he's smart, and he's got a high soccer IQ. So I had a pretty good idea that he would be ready for it. And sure enough, even though he told me later he wasn't anticipating it the way that I had been, but that as soon as he saw it, his eyes lit up. And sure enough, he went, the guy didn't manage to, the guy tried to control the ball and turn it, but he took it away from him and then passed it back into the middle, and our center mid put it in for a goal. That's using your soccer IQ, and the more you use it, the more you're able to use it, the better results you're going to get. And that's why it's so important to try to drill these things into players. Like, if you're on a yellow card, don't commit a foul. Let it go. Just let the player go. Don't try to grab him from behind, especially not if there's a defender right there. If you're in your own area, you got to close people down. You got to stay close to them. You can't give them space. You need to rotate smoothly off your guy. If they're moving on you, you've got to transition with your teammate. And so hopefully next season, like I said, the off season has been phenomenal. The new CEO they've got has been amazing. I find it difficult to believe this is correct, but if the numbers I've read are correct, then we're getting 75% as much for the front of shirt sponsorship as Wrexham is. And Wrexham is the biggest team in the world right now that is not, in the capable of reaching the Champions League. They call them Hollywood FC, but you can't. I was watching Welcome to Wrexham with Space Bunny tonight, and somewhat enviously, now that we're involved with Dorking, but what they've achieved is really, really remarkable, and it's not just a question of money, So it really provides some real education there. But if you think about the fact that our sponsorship deals are now even comparable in any way to that, that's very promising for next season. And so, anyhow, I hope you guys have enjoyed the ride thus far. I know it's not for everybody, but I think it's fun, and it's something that we can hopefully enjoy together for years to come. I'm Vox Day, and this is the Darkstream.